Sorry, I know it's been a bit since I recorded. I got a little sick. I had the flu. Unfortunately, my spouse caught it, and I was taking care of her, and for quite a while I did not get it, and finally I got it, and it was uh, wiping me out. I still am not fully back to my energy levels, and I have a little bit of a cough, but other than that, I'm feeling pretty okay. But I figured I should go ahead and record. I know I'm supposed to on the 18th, but I was not feeling up to it yesterday at all. Um, I'm a little frustrated because all the surgeries that are non emergent have been postponed indefinitely, which means my top surgery um, that hasn't even been scheduled will be even more delayed to be scheduled, so that sucks. Um, like, I've said it before, if you haven't, been practicing any, you know, preventative conduct, please do. Like, my brother needs a nose surgery really bad, and that's been postponed. And because it's technically non emergent, even though it's pretty bad, like, people can't go to the hospital for non pandemic related things hardly at all because there's so many people who don't give a crap about the pandemic. It's almost like people are bored of it and have just decided it's not happening because they don't want it to be happening, which is not true or realistic. Like, I know lots of people who don't even wear a mask anymore. And it's like, but the masks, were proven to have helped. And they're like, not washing hands and they're not doing protocols and not telling people if they are, sick or if their kids are sick or things, and they just show up and they're just like, eh. And it's just like, my mom uh, ended up in the hospital with COVID, and they said if she would have gone even like 3 or 4 days later, she would have died. Um, I wish more people would get vaccinated, and I wish more people would just be safe and sanitary and hygienic, you know, because it's like messing up more than just the inconvenience of getting sick. Like, we had to get COVID tested and stuff, um, and thankfully they all came back negative, but like, the surgeries being postponed and people who need help not being able to get help is really, really frustrating. Um, like, the surgery that my brother needs is to help him breathe. My therapist was supposed to get a surgery and hers is canceled too. Like, people get inconsistent and don't follow through with things, and it just prolongs the difficulty. And it just takes a little bit of self discipline and a little bit of thinking about others and cooperation and community to, like, make a huge difference in the way that we live. And I don't know what to do but to say I wish it was more like that. Anyway, I did get my present that I said I would get. I actually brought a pair in here. Um, so these are basically boxer briefs that are not like meant to be super fancy or whatever, but when, like, you go in public, if you're feeling uncomfortable with yourself but you're also uncomfortable wearing a packer, here's an option, and they are um, basically trans underwear made by a trans person for FTM. And I, know a lot of people just make do with like a roll of socks and try to call it good, but um, that wasn't something I felt very comfortable doing at all. I tried it one time and I was like, yeah, this is not good. I've heard so many horror stories about people like dropping their packer or the roll of socks or something out from their underwear, and I don't want that to ever be me, for obvious reasons. And even besides that, I've heard lots of people, complain about strapping on the straps that it pinches, hairs on your belly or your pubic hairs or stuff, or, that it can be uncomfortable, or that it takes getting used to, that stuff gets heavy, and, you know, there's, packers that, sometimes you can button them in on certain, boxer briefs or boxers and stuff, but the thing is then they're floppy and they like flop around and stuff, and that's not comfortable either and looks uncomfortable, and sometimes they get bent in a wrong direction that, you know, completely looks not natural. So anyway, lots of issues with packing in general. Well, bottom surgery is probably several years off for me, unfortunately, as much as I hate saying that and try not to think of it that way. But the way that the pandemic's going and everything, I'm trapped. Like I don't know what to do. Unfortunately, me getting help and me being able to live, the rest of my life in a happy or good, comfortable way, um, physically, um, is dependent on the rest of the populace. And the rest of the populace is like half of, well, less than half, thankfully, but uh, too many of them, like, eager for a civil war, it seems like, let alone caring about, people's actual physical health. So, um, that really sucks. I don't know what to do about it. I don't think most people know what to do about it, and I needed to do something in the meantime, and I got these, and I've worn them a couple times in public and stuff, and the girl said that you can tell if it's in the pants correctly, and there's a little bulge, but it's not like obscene or anything like that. It definitely isn't like flopping all over the place. I will say that after I put a pair in the washer and dryer, that it like flipped to its side inside of the pouch, but it still has the exact same effect, so I don't care. But basically, they are like this, and this part right here has a little bulge because there's this sewn in little stuffed cloth thing right here, and it just basically looks like a little bulge, and it's sewn in completely, like from the other side as well. And so when you wear it, you just have this resting on the front of you. It's not weighty, it's not heavy. um, I mean, it's literally just sort of there. It feels a little strange for me personally because I have a phantom limb penis, and it usually hangs down a pants leg. And so then I have this little bulge resting on the front. And so it feels a little awkward because I have essentially the feeling of almost like two different weights of slight pressure, but they're only small, slight ones. But I'm hoping that resolves itself over time or something. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. It's just slightly weird. But it's definitely an improvement because I don't feel as awkward. Like sometimes when I'm out in public, not as much here, but every once in a while, people look down when they're trying to figure out because they can see the facial hair, but they also are getting like female vibes from my chest. And so they look down because they're trying to get the determiner. And I don't know if it's just like human nature or if it's just like, so a lot of people, once I speak and my voice is deeper, which my voice is slightly off lately because of all the coughing and my sore throat and stuff, so that's been uncomfortable, but it hasn't been girly sounding, it's just been like off. It's definitely sounded off. Anyway, but the biggest thing is with this, like, it's not like a giant bulge. Like when you're wearing jeans or you're wearing pants or whatever, you can barely hardly notice the bulge. Like it's not like, oh, this sticks out like, I don't know, giant or something. It's very here. Like this is like flat, like it's just sort of like a little slope, and then you put pants over that and it's like even more of a little slope. But like especially when like I sit down and stuff, I have always sat with my knees spread, like man spreading or whatever. My entire life I've always sat that way. And I remember my mother would, you know, get on to me about it so much. And oh my gosh, when I would wear dresses and stuff, would be on my case. And I didn't want to wear the dress, but she would be on my case anyway because, I had to wear the dress and I had to be ladylike and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, she tried to get me to do the whole hook your knee over the other knee thing, and I just would not ever manage that. It felt so uncomfortable and weird and awkward for me. Um, so I've always sat like that, and I've been wearing sweatpants that are a little longer there, to try to make up for the fact that there wasn't anything there, and I like have never liked skinny jeans, but if I did like skinny jeans, I wouldn't be comfortable in them because they'd be so like tight, without some sort of a bulge. So I got some dress pants in for a present from my spouse's mom, and these work really well with that. It looks more natural or whatever, but it doesn't look like I have a boner or anything like that. So I was actually really pleased. The one single thing I will say about them is if you have a larger butt, um, sometimes it feels like they're basically going to give you a little bit of a plumber crack. But if you're wearing your pants right or whatever, that's not an issue because your pants are covering things anyway. But if, with me losing some weight, and unfortunately I lost a bunch more. Well, okay, not unfortunately that I lost some more, but unfortunate how I did was from the flu. So, um, I guess yay for losing some pounds because it'll make it a lot easier to stay under my BMI threshold for my surgery, but boo for freaking for freaking how I've felt really weak and I really, really want to do something about it. The one good thing about losing a little bit of weight from the flu is hopefully I can use my weights without too much stress because if I gain a little muscle, it's not going to be the end of the world. Ha! So that would be nice. Um, would really like that. Honestly, I'm sick of feeling weak. But as far as the underwears go, sorry, I'm a little distracted today. Um, I I would recommend them. I feel like they're pretty good. Um, the the underwear are comfortable and all of that. And again, they're made by a trans guy, um, so that helps because when trans people come to him and say, "Oh, hey, you know, uh, would like this adjustment or this adjustment. He actually listens because he's trans and he knows how that feels. Um, the discomfort can be a real constant, like, grating on you, like nonstop dripping. Like, I don't know how to express it. It's just this nonstop distress, but it's not like screaming distress. It's just low grade distress, but it's always there, and this just helps alleviate it a little bit. It does not alleviate it enough that I don't want bottom surgery or something like that. I know some trans guys who, like one of the trans guys I'm decently closest with, is all like, yeah, I never want bottom surgery, and I just that would never work for me. um, he's like comfortable like this, and I'm just like, I I no, that's not me at all. Um, he had top surgery, but he doesn't want bottom surgery. Teach their own. Anyway, I don't really feel any different being a year and a month on testosterone or anything. Um, but is what it is with that. I don't really expect to. Like, I'm not surprised or anything. I do need to give myself a haircut and a shave, but again, well, a trim. I don't actually shave it off, I trim it down, but I've been sick, so a lot of that kind of stuff I haven't been able to get around to since I cut my own hair. Um, so sorry if I look a little scruffy. But oh well. My beard usually curls all together, and right now it's got like this curl both directions thing going. I don't know. It makes me chuckle a little bit because it makes me feel like it's a little bit of a devil beard or something, and my mother would be like so freaking out about that. I would see that as like proof that it's Satan or something. I don't know. So it makes me chuckle at the ridiculousness of it. Um, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PlayStation that my brother gave me for Christmas, and been playing a lot of Brigandine. I have not been playing a lot of MMOs. I've been basically logging in, doing a little bit of daily stuff, and logging out on Guild Wars 2 and Elder Scrolls, and then that's about it. Um, but I have been playing video games. It's just not been on my computer that much. I mean, obviously, I still log in every day, but it's not that much. Anywho, my therapy seems to be going okay. It's a little slower, I think, than my last therapist with like getting things and making changes and stuff. I'm getting used to that. Um, like my last therapist, I had like homework every week and things like that and stuff, and this one does homework every once, like every maybe 2 3 weeks, and it's more like getting to a point where we talk and talk about an issue until we get to there's the thing that we're gonna focus on. It's interesting. It's like she's trying to. I'm not sure what she's trying to do. I haven't figured that out yet. But anyway, I think she's trying to understand, but she's trying to understand in a specific way, and I'm not sure what that way is. But anyway, I haven't really done much trans stuff at all with my therapy. It's almost entirely focused on um, basically how I grew up and how I'm behaving now as a result of that. And that's fine. But it means that there's not really a lot to report on the trans front in regards to any of that. Whereas before, I was doing a lot of therapy that was about all of that stuff too, but also about trans stuff. Um, I don't know, maybe I'm to a point in my transition and everything where everybody's super confident about my transition since I'm confident about my transition. Um, whatever. Well, I'm confident that I want to go through with all of the stuff for the transition. It's just I'm not confident that that's going to happen soon. um, Such is life. Anyway, um, that's pretty much all I have to report for trans stuff for now. I will put a link in when I post the video to the website for the underwear. I'm not sponsored or anything, but whenever I get something and I like it, in case it might help someone else, I always do that. Um, I don't know if it'll help someone or not, but just in case, there it is. Anywho, um, have fun.